Hey guys, welcome back to The Perfect Blend. Just me today. We're about 35 episodes in, and I decided to do a quick series on the things that we are learning, all the commonalities between all these amazing speakers on our Parenting on Purpose podcast. So, the first of the series is going to be the 5 things to do to have a terrible relationship with your kids. Why are we calling it that and not the 5 things to have a great relationship? Well, as human beings, we are wired to run away from pain, even more than running toward pleasure. So they do this a lot in business, and they help you structure your day and your life and your habits around things that you don't want, so you can prioritize what you do want. So we've noticed after 35 episodes of a total gamut of speakers, from psychologists, hypnotherapists, financial literacy. We've had lawyers, we've had doctors, like so many different types of coaches on. There are some interesting commonalities that we have learned that they all do or don't do to have wonderful relationships with their kids. So without further ado, let's get into it. The 5 ways to have a terrible relationship with your kids. Way number 1, or reason number 1, is have no self-love routine. One thing that all of these people have in common is that they all take time for themselves at some level or another, whether that is morning routine where they meditate, their morning coffee, journaling, some type of introspection time where it is just them being present with themselves so they can work through whatever mental baggage they have going on, and they're able to then be okay with where that is and be present with their children because they've had that time and space and presence to work through whatever is challenging them at the moment. I can see this in our own lives, but if we don't take this time, it's very simple to get caught in reactivity mode, or just get upset a lot faster because we didn't give ourselves the amount of time to work through our own stuff and trepidations. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is don't be present. Great way to have a terrible relationship with your kids is to not be present, to constantly be on your phone, or to constantly be showing them that they do not matter. Another common thread are all these successful relationships and parents is that they all have mechanisms to make sure that their kids get that time to see that they matter to their parents, whether that's the parent saying, hey, this is our special playtime. This is just you and mommy or you and daddy doing whatever you want. Some people go as far as to schedule them in their calendar and they're like annual or quarterly, monthly events where they do special dates. It can just be as simple as mommy's deciding to put away my phone right now. I just want to play trucks with you. What do you want to do? And they just be present with their kids. What we found, or what I hear a lot, is quality over quantity. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do this all the time. We're all adults. We're trying to live, function, have a house, not go broke, all that good stuff. So just doing this a few moments a day is really enough to fill your kid's bucket. And then they'll be more understanding of the moments when you can't necessarily be present with them. So that's number 2. Third way to have a terrible relationship with your kid is to make the relationship arduous, to make it hard. If you want a terrible relationship with your kid, make sure that you're going through extreme lengths to not make it easy for them to come talk to you. This is very specific to older kids and teens as well. But one of the common things I hear with a lot of our speakers is that as their kids get older, they crave more space. And you want to make sure that when they do come to you, as a parent, for advice or just to share or connect, that you just make that easy, fun. And what does that look like? Well, from what I'm learning from our guests, it more looks like not overcorrecting them, not overparenting them, just giving them the space to be present and hear what they have to say. And then if you see there's gaps between where they want to be and where they are, you can provide coaching. And that gets into our next one. You can just provide the space for them to figure it out for themselves. So that's the third. The fourth is you want to have a terrible relationship with your kids. Make sure you solve all their problems for them. If you do that, they're always going to have to come to you, and you will be the main source of providing them with answers to their questions. But at a certain point, they are not autonomous and they don't have confidence in themselves and their way to navigate this world. And that doesn't necessarily just mean as teenagers. That can be even in the 3s, 2s and 3s, when they're learning to do things on their own. If you constantly solve their problems for them, you're teaching them to not explore. You're teaching them it's not safe to do this. I have to do it perfectly, quickly, pretty, neatly, whatever it is, in order to be valuable. And it's like an iceberg. And underneath that intent is their understanding of I'm not good enough if I don't do it this way. It's a very dangerous one from what I'm learning. So that was the fourth way. Make sure you solve all their problems for them. The antithesis of this, or the positive way of doing this, would be help them understand that they have all the capacities that they need to solve the problems they're going to have in this life. And that usually looks like having them describe the problem, having them describe why it's a challenge. How do they feel about the challenge? What do they think the answers are? If they knew they could succeed, what would they do? And usually by just giving them that like forum, you allow them to figure it out by themselves and you help them feel seen. So that was a really good one. And then the fifth and the final way to have a terrible relationship with your children is to teach them they have to be perfect. This is a big one. We get this a lot as parents because we are trying to go through life and make our lives better. And I think we give the personification, or we give the perception to our kids that they have to be a certain way to be deserving of our love. They have to be a good lacrosse player. They have to be an A student. They have to be a perfect daughter. They have to clean the kitchen. None of that dictates our love. And our love shouldn't be contingent upon their ability to do anything perfectly. It should be unconditional, because they are already perfect, and just modeling and growing in front of them and showing respect for them trying to grow as people helps them feel confident, helps them feel excited to go out and try something new. A lot of times the things plaguing our children are really just mirrors for us to look at ourselves and what's challenging us. So that's our final one. If you want to have a terrible relationship with your kids, make sure that they think they need to be perfect instead of loving them for just where they are. I hope this was fun, helpful. You guys comment down below. Let me know which one of these you guys resonated with the most. And I look forward to the next video in the series that we're learning from all of our guest speakers. In case you're new here, Parenting on Purpose, we are the podcast for an entrepreneurial type parent, the parent who just wants to take a more active role in developing and grooming their kids, wants to give them more exposure outside of just school and sports and church, definitely like homeschool type parent. Anyone who just wants to, think out of the box. And it's a great time to be a parent. It's a great time to learn a lot about ourselves. And this journey of self-mastery and parenthood is definitely connected, and we are having a blast. So we put out podcasts, multiple podcasts a week. We're looking forward to hearing what you guys want to hear so we can grow together. And we look forward to continuing the journey. So until the next perfect time, you guys, stay beautiful, stay inspired. See ya.